I've been playing the Marathon Alpha, and it's a good time to talk about it, share my first impressions. I do have more Marvel Rivals content lined up for next week, but with this early access window, Marathon deserves a deep dive. I'm a huge Bungie fan. A lot of my subscribers are Destiny-based, so I want to talk about what I've experienced so far, and it might help set your expectations for the game. This is feedback in a way, but also a breakdown of what Marathon is, what it's trying to do. My time with it has been a little mix of surprises, frustrations, and for context, with what you're seeing, I'm playing on an MSI OLED widescreen. It's a 4K monitor, 240 hertz, really, really nice. I have a 4090, an i9-13900K, a more than capable rig, so the game runs great. High settings, solid frames, no complaints here. Now, Bungie's been very clear on how they view this alpha. It is meant for feedback. It is not a finished product. They've also been transparent on what's in it and what's not, so what they want to know about is the weapons, gunplay, runners, progression, how the combat feels, opposed to final visuals, the animations, lighting. A lot of things aren't polished. Not all maps are in the game, not all zones are in the game, not all runners, no end-game content, the full suite of weapons, things like that. And when you get in there, the game is far from finished. And I see people talking about the graphics, but it's very obvious that the final visuals aren't there. Like, especially the outside of maps. The terrain, the foliage, like everything feels bland, unpolished. It kind of runs together. But once you get indoors, it's like a different game. It really is. The interiors are way more polished. The lighting is actually really good, if not great. The colors pop. It feels very crisp. It's almost jarring how different the inside looks from the outside. And there's some bugs too. Keybinds not saving, occasional double inputs, but that's all kind of expected. I'm not worried about any of that. And if the inside polished areas are any sign, like the full visual pass is going to land really, really well. So let's talk gameplay. And here's the big thing. Marathon is fun, like really, really fun. But that fun only came when I played with two friends. Because with Marathon, every time you load in, this screen reminds you of what the core gameplay loop is. Complete contracts, you build a reputation with the factions, and these contracts unlock upgrades that you really want. You gather loot, weapons, relics, crafting materials, and then you exfil. If you don't, you lose everything that you've gathered, including what you dropped in with. You either leave with everything or leave with nothing. And this is where things get interesting and frustrating. Everyone in the match has different goals. Some players are hunting materials, others are doing very specific contracts, some are just PvP hunting. It creates a dynamic where the map is full of people, but the reasons for being there are all completely different. Now that's cool, but also leads to issues if you aren't with a full team. And you notice it very quickly. People are trying to grab what they need. Maybe a rare drop, go to a certain area to finish a contract. Sometimes they immediately exfil after that. And when people exfil, the overall threat level drops on the map, but the danger's always there. So when I first started playing, I played solo. And honestly, not great, kinda sucked. Because you're gonna get paired with two random teammates, and with all the games that I played solo, no one opted in for Mike. That's fine, almost expected, right? You have a severe lack of communication, and that made it rough. Even with the ping system, which I think it works pretty good, I found that most of the time, my team is just scattered. No one's sticking together. And the main reason is the first part of that loop, contracts. Each faction gives you different contract objectives. Say there's 3 solos that don't know each other. There's me, you, and Bob. Each faction gives you different contract objectives. So say I have to follow flares and loot some caches. You need to go to a specific zone and loot it, and someone else needs to kill AI at another location. We don't know each other, but we all spawn in the same spot. We're now 3 players on 3 separate missions. No coordination, no synergy, and that immediately leads to problems. Sure, we could try to help each other, and all of it can be done, but it has to be coordinated. And when you start running into other squads, you try to take them out with just pings, no plan. Solo just doesn't fit the core play loop. It doesn't. And the game just wants you in a coordinated trio. So Bungie, if you're watching, solo players need a better experience, maybe even a dedicated solo queue or mode. But that core game loop, and again, it shows you every single time you load into a map, doesn't fit with solo play, because everyone has different missions. And once I jumped in with 2 friends, everything changed. We had routes, we shared loot, we solved puzzles, we won fights, we exfilled, and that's when the game really came alive for me. Before that, I had a really sour taste, but with 2 friends, it all clicked. And it makes sense that this is how they designed the game, right? Just based off of this, Marathon isn't for everyone, unless they change things. And that's not a bad thing, and it's just kind of the nature of the game, because it is an extraction shooter, yes, but to me it feels like a spin on the genre. Same, but different. And I've found, opposed to, let's say, Tarkov, it is way more accessible than most extraction games. It still has high stakes, but the systems feel a lot more streamlined. It just feels like Bungie's version of the genre. And that gameplay loop, and that's one of the main things, because it's an alpha, I wanted to see, like, does the core gameplay loop work? Drop in, complete those contracts, level up your factions, gather loot, extract. I think that the core loop does work because everything's not in the game. There's no end game, no pinnacle stuff, no full suite of weapons. And once those higher tier items are in the game, it makes everything that more enhanced to either get out or use it, try to avoid other teams, or try to get into fights with other teams. And then you get your factions upgraded. Like, it's going to be addicting once everything sets in, I think. But the final build does need that carrot on a string feeling. And in the alpha, it's really hard to get that because it is very like core, very basic. Couple weapons here, couple mods there. So you kind of envision everything on top. And if they do get it right, I feel the game could take off because it's not a free-to-play extraction shooter. And that's also a big difference. And that means that there's going to be content that they have planned out. It also means it's trying to curb cheaters because they do have BattleEye and they do have dedicated servers. And if you get caught cheating, people are actually out of money. So a few things stood out for better or for worse. Let's first talk about the heat system. When you sprint, generate heat, you fill the meter. Once it's full, you're forced to stop. It's like stamina. It is annoying, but I think that I get it. At first, I was totally against it. I'm like, what is this? But it is treated like a resource, something you can manage, you can even build around. Mods can reduce it. And what's really cool, weather like the rain cools you down, meaning you don't heat up as fast. And I like little touches like that. That's pretty cool to me. But what I found most importantly, and people's takes on the heat system is all over the place, and I get it. I mean, I'm fine either way. Like, they could take it out, I'd be cool with it. But I think what it's meant to do really is reduce third partying. And honestly, I've only been third partied maybe twice, because with only 6 teams per match, people spawn at random areas. The game spawns you, of course, close to teams, but you don't always find them. I've played a dozen games where there is 0 PvP interaction. It is just PvE stuff, like go to this area, take out this particular bot, or loot some bins, whatever. Do get into fights, they're usually pretty clean. Like, it plays out, and I'm thinking with that heat system, some of it has to do with people can't get there fast enough. So yeah, again, I wouldn't mind if they toned down the system, they removed it, I'm all good, but I get the intent. And for what it's worth, if that is one of the main reasons, third partying, it's working. Audio, it needs some work. I don't know where they stand on footsteps, but sometimes they just get lost. They've done a very good job differentiating the type of enemy. Like, if it's the bots, it's very clunky footsteps. But if it's a player, another runner, very light-footed, you can hear those footsteps. But I found there's a weird distinction between indoor and outdoor sound. Like I said, it feels like 2 different games, inside and outside. Like, if you just walk through a door, like right in the walkway, boom, all outside audio cuts off, it goes to inside. It is very jarring. The gunshots, the footsteps. And what that translates to, say there was an enemy runner literally a foot from me right outside the door, and he was running. As soon as I come into this doorway, it gets severely muffled because he's, quote, outside. Like, that needs some work. Gunshots sound different, footsteps sound different, and it all just changes instantly. It's not fluid. Not a fan of that. Just the overall transition of that sound. I actually want to go to that list. Weapons and gunplay. And a couple things here. First, the aim assist, the magnetism. I'm not sure if you've heard about it, but it's extremely strong. I mean, super strong. There's aim assist, and then there's marathon aim assist. It's its own thing. And for M&K, there's actually a aim assist, aim magnetism setting that you can turn on and off. It is on by default. I see why they did that. I see why it's there. I don't agree with it. And it's just like with Destiny. They want to just tighten that gap between controller and M&K. That way controller doesn't run all over M&K. But just in general, the whole magnetism for both inputs just needs to be toned down. Way too strong. Like, to me, here's an example. Certain mods actually give you aim assist. It says plus aim assist. I can see a world where they just lessen the overall magnetism and aim assist. And let's say there's a gold mod that says plus 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 aim assist, and it gives this level of magnetism and aim assist, and it functions how everything functions right now, just super sticky, feels like aimbot. Like, that could be a strong mod. But overall, I'm on the side that both inputs just need it lessened. The gunplay feels good, if not better, than Destiny, which is wild. If it isn't, it's at least on the same level. Very fluid, very fun. It feels like a Bungie game. All the weapons' iron sights are usable. All the scopes are awesome. You can tell it's a Bungie game. It's got Bungie feel. And that is the highlight, and always has been, of these games. It's so good. There's stat boosts all over the place for mods, ADS speed, handling, accuracy, you name it. Ammo, as always, headshots matter. Gunplay feels great. The sniper feels powerful, the SMG is awesome, I like the sidearms, I like the magnums. It all feels how it should feel. Maps and survival gameplay, it doesn't really feel like survival to me. Sure, it can be viewed as survival, and it's an extraction shooter, but Marathon does feel like a PvEVP game. You go in and you see more AI bots than players, and both are a huge threat. You have set goals, what you're trying to do with your contracts. I'm going here, you're going there, we're doing this. You find them, you do them, battle along the way, and you get out of there. It's very mission-based like that. Everyone has a purpose when they drop on that map, every single player. Instead of just find the best stuff, get out of there. Certain areas are locked, there's only 2 maps available, but the maps felt good to play, they flowed well, there's multiple points of interest, there's main ones and smaller ones, there's side objectives. You do drop randomly, and you start going for your objectives. You start looting. There's the AI bots on every point of interest, there's AI patrols. As you do things in areas, more get sent at you. I think the maps and the, quote, survival gameplay is fine. I want to stress, I don't really view it as survival gameplay. It's just something completely different, like Bungie's spin on survival gameplay. Runners, including kits and build crafting, so I'm also going to bring up UI in all of this. As a part of the build crafting. They said that the UI isn't polished, but at this stage in the alpha, everything does run together. It just feels like you're looking at a box that has a box within a box. It's very hard to distinguish what something actually is and does. Like, okay, this is a material. Okay, this is something you sell for credits. This mod does this. So hopefully UI makes all that a lot better in the final product. As far as runners, I've only played Blackbird, which I think the kit is one of the best. When I looked at it, it has a pulse for the ultimate, pings nearby enemies, has a drone. And from what I found, not just Blackbird, the cooldowns are in a good spot because they take 3 minutes or so for the ultimate, and you don't have them immediately when you drop down. They're not readily available when you spawn, so if you get into a heavy action early, you're not going to have them. You might have one ability, but definitely not the ultimate. So that's some pretty good balance. And each runner brings something to the team, smoke, movement. So there is some team synergy, things that you can do and different ways things can play out, which is nice. Each one having their own unique kit and the synergies with one another. And the build crafting part, like every time you drop into that map, everyone has a goal. And you can build craft. Maybe you're build crafting into speed, build crafting into your abilities. And that can change on what your goal is for the run. It could be to hunt other players, right? So different weapons, different gear slots are going to have different things. So your build crafting is going to depend on what your goal is, but a lot of this isn't available in the alpha. I mean, there are runner mods, leg mods, cooldown mods, tons of things you can do. It looks like the alpha is just kind of scratching the surface. To me, it's hard to talk about build crafting because there isn't much in the alpha. A lot of it now is just getting the feel of the game, but in theory, it's there, and Bungie can do it. We know Bungie can do it as far as build crafting. Early game progression, including factions, contracts, and faction upgrades. So I talked about earlier the main gripe of these contracts and faction upgrades. Like, the faction upgrades are no joke. They are things that you want to get done. No matter what, people will try to do these contracts first to up that reputation. And I really enjoy the factions. I do. I enjoy this part of the game because they all have their intros, they all have their identity. There's great lines in the intros. They cooked.
Attention all runners. Traxxas Off-World Industries is currently seeking candidates for resource extraction on Tau 74.
And the idea of factions within the game works with the game. You can get sponsored kits, which is just basics on a run, meaning say you don't really want to lose anything, or maybe you've lost like 4 or 5 times and you're out of credits, you're out of gear, you use a sponsored kit. And when it comes to progression, these contracts, like this one, I need a certain amount of materials to upgrade my vault. So while on the perimeter map, I'm looking for those materials, and I can upgrade my vault through this particular faction. Other factions have perks like you can buy shields from the black market, and the black market is huge in the game right now. It's one of the main hubs for the game. You're going to interact with the black market a ton. One faction has backpack stuff. One has it to where you can buy a certain weapon. One's where you can buy shields. That way, on all of your runs, you can drop in with 2 shields instead of 1. Things like that. So they are important. And early progression does seem fine to me, but again, there isn't that much to go off of. But that faction loop, I feel, does work, but it only works as a team. And I went over that earlier. Like, if you're just solo trying to do these, it is miserable. And I hope that they try to make that experience better. Each upgrade's gonna have certain materials that you need in different areas of the map. And when you get an upgrade, it feels meaningful. You feel progression. The PvP engagements against other runners, I love it. And this is why. I wouldn't say that it's rare to find another team. It's just hit or miss. Like, as a matter of fact, there have been multiple full 20-minute games where we've seen 0 other players. We just do the things that we need to do and we get out. And think about that for a second. There's 6 teams. Those contracts I went over, say somebody needs to go loot some bins to get their final upgrade. That way they can get their backpack or whatever it is. A lot of the times in these games, it is a 20-minute game or so. They drop in, go do their contract task, and they get out. They exfil. They can do it whenever they want. So 3 minutes into the game, somebody's already gone, and you don't know that they've gone because they're on the other side of the map. Well, that means there's only 5 total player teams. Maybe 3 teams did that, so it means there's only 3. So it really depends on what everybody's trying to do with their goal of the run. You have some teams doing what they need to do and getting right out. You have some teams hunting other players. You have some teams that go almost the full time limit and loot as much as they can. And that's what makes the encounters more special to me, because you don't know when it's going to happen. And when it does happen, it's a big deal. And you kind of lock in more because you're trying to take their stuff, they're trying to take yours, or you're trying to get away, you're trying to avoid them, vice versa. If it goes down, the winner takes all, the loser takes none. So the PvP engagements are a big deal when they happen. Like right here, we're going to a certain area, I see a glitch run through an open field. So I yelled to my team player, and I pinged them. I got the pick, we found the rest of their team, we took them out. Not only that, they just got done doing a map objective that dropped 4 crates. So not only do we get those 4 crates, we also get all their loot. Then after this fight, it's one of those things, well, now we have all this stuff, we need to get out so we can secure this loot. So we're trying to find our exfil and getting off the map. PvE engagements against AI combatants, the bots are actually no joke. I'm sure you've heard that. They feel like they have appropriate health. And when they get on you, no mercy. I would say difficulty-wise, they're just below Legendary Halo. Heroic. Not quite Legendary, but close. With this AI, one of the big issues I have is them getting up behind you. There's zero warning, there's no footsteps, they just show up. That needs fixed. Because if these AI enemies get on you, they can end you pretty quick. Otherwise, they are pretty basic, pretty bland, and I hope that there's more enemy types in the final game, like there has to be. And I assume that there will be as the game gets updates and different seasons, things like that. But the PvE engagements do serve a purpose. They drop loot as well. Sometimes some of the bigger, higher tier PvE enemies will drop like a key card or a special item, so it's always worth going for them. At this point in the alpha, they're fine because they're at points of interest, they're on patrols, they can be lethal, and that's one of the biggest things. And it actually feels pretty bad. You get into a player versus player fight, and the bots are there too, because the bots, they'll find angles or they'll throw grenades and they'll just take you out. So if the goal of them is for them to be a threat and always there, they did a good job. I just hope that there's different types of enemies and more diversity. In conclusion, my first impressions, Marathon is promising. There is something here, and I found that when you play it how it's meant to be played, with a squad, a plan, a goal, it is really fun. And that's going to be a hard stop for a lot of people, playing mic'd up with 2 other players. And on the flip side of that, to me, Marathon doesn't really feel like a copy of anything. It feels like it's taken pieces of the pie of different genres, different games, and making it its own, which that's kind of the point. It is raw, it's a little risky, it's not trying to please everyone, and that's apparent, judging by the solo play. The systems are different enough, the tension is real, and if they keep building on this, it could be special. But to do that, I feel they do need to accommodate solo players. You almost have to. Either include them or try to make a different experience. I feel that they need to do that, while also making sure they sharpen the identity of the game itself. It depends on what kind of player you are. If you like these types of games, while it is a, quote, extraction shooter, survival, like it doesn't feel like that. It's really hard to explain. It's like Big Gambit. But I've enjoyed myself. I plan to play it when it comes out, and hopefully they will have a beta. And if they do, I strongly encourage you to try it solo and then play it with friends. It is a night and day difference. When I started playing with friends, it all clicked and I was having a really good time. But if you're new here, remember to hit the subscribe button. And if you are subscribed, thank you so much for your support. Let's talk about Marathon down below. If you played it, tell us your thoughts. From what you've seen, what do you think of it? There's also the elephant in the room that this quote took the place of Destiny 3. So no matter what, Bungie's always going to have that above their heads. Let's talk about it down below. Thank you for watching, and until the next one, I am Cool Guy.
Okay, you can kill now. Kill them all.
Okay, I will.
Are you guys leaving? Don't leave. Don't leave me. I don't have any shield here. Guys. Guys, there's a lot of bots. What if I die? I might. This is so messed up that you guys did this to me. Why would they do this to me, Chad? There's so many bots!
So just like, I want to make it clear that like, regardless of if we helped you kill those bots or not, like...
That's so cringe, dude. Why is there a wall here?
my god, did you miss it because of the wall? If if you Dude, why did you throw the smoke? Why did you smoke yourself into a wall?